Yes guys, Jez here, back with another video. You read the title. This is the calm before the storm. Bitcoin is at a massive level right now, and we need to pick up from where we last left off. In the short term, we have a lot of liquidity actually piling up in and around the 96k region. However, we're at a massive level where we had an extended move. So from the lows to where we are now, we've actually come up in and around the 30% mark. So just under that, about 28% towards the upside. And this is typically the magnitude where we start to get some sort of reversal. So we need to be identifying if it's possible we get a correction here, or if we're actually going to start to move all the way in towards new all-time highs. So make sure to be staying tuned to the end. I have a lot of charts and a lot of data points to be sharing with you guys so that you can actually determine what the next move might actually be. So with that being said, let's smash up this like button. Let's try to get above 20 likes this video. That'd be absolutely insane. And with that being said, let's get straight away in towards this banger. Bow. So looking at the last time we reviewed where Bitcoin was, we actually predicted perfectly that within this region, I actually drew this as we were getting the deviation. We said that we swept our lows. Everybody was calling for us to retest these highs, and we said it was marginal. It was likely that we were going to front run those bids, and we were going to actually start to move towards the upside, just observing the way the candle looked. So this was my last video. We can actually just pinpoint where I started to actually look at the charts and actually make this observation. So in and around this region here, I circled it and everything. I was actually pinpointing that this is a region where we actually start to get some sort of a reversal. So you can see this is where I was looking for price to increase. And of course, looking at the bullish divergence that I pointed out, this was a very telling kind of sign that we were going to get some sort of push. And that's exactly what's happened. However, right now you can see we're coming in towards this resistance point. And not to waste too much time, since this is stuff you guys might have heard from other channels on things already, you can see that this is a key region where Bitcoin needs to make a decision whether this is actually acceptance and we're actually holding this region and this actually starts to, give us the green light that we can move in towards our next targets. Then we need to be seeing what's the probability of that actually playing out, or if this is some sort of distribution before we actually start to come further down, then we need to actually be looking at that scenario too. So this is a scenario that I've actually looked at, and you can see that we had previous examples of compression. So in 2023, just before we entered the range where we had the ETF approval scenarios playing out, we had a compression after a massive rally, and that led to further continuation towards the upside. And in 2024, as we started rallying off of Trump's election, we got confirmation that Trump actually got elected, and we know he's a pro-crypto president. So that led to us having a massive move after this compression, and we can kind of see that in the price action now. So again, we need to be knowing if this is some sort of consolidation that gets people bearish. People can interpret this as a rising wedge, and we actually start to push towards the upside. We can look at the liquidity, and the majority is clearly above us. We can even zoom out to a 2-week time frame and look at where the majority actually resides, and you can clearly see the majority of the liquidity right now is stacked above us. We can actually go on towards the order book as well and just look that most of the asks, we have so much kind of sells above 96k, so price likely starts to gravitate towards these orders. So the probability of this actually being some sort of top distributive range, and the fact that people are discounted that we cannot just start to move towards the upside, I think it's potentially going to be costly. So we need to be seeing if this is just some compression before a massive move and everyone's just missing this again. Looking at the Bitcoin fear and greed, once we had that massive correction, you can see by April 16th, that's when we had the correction. We had maximum fear in the market, and this was proven again to be a buying opportunity. So yeah, we can see that the stochastic RSI is showing that momentum is still increasing on the daily time frame, and this is one sign. So I point to the bulls, which actually shows that okay, there's momentum behind this move, and it's still showing that we can potentially just keep on increasing given we don't just reject from here. So again, further continuation is on the table. If we're looking at what Tether's doing, we can see that we have a lot of stablecoin being printed time and time again. We have USDC being printed, and also USDT. So you can see that I've actually added both of the market caps together to give a more accurate reading than just looking at them separately. And every time we have a pullback and we have a divergence and there's a lot of printing going on, this leads to a catch-up rally. And you can see right now we're actually starting that phase. The last time we had this was in and around that ETF approval. We had a pullback off of the Selden news, and then we had a massive catch-up. And right now we had a massive pullback due to tariffs and different factors. So the strategic Bitcoin reserve got approved, and that could be interpreted as a sell the news event. And then after that, we started to rally. So of course, continuation is what we need to be deciding here. but I do think it's likely given that we have a lot of stable coins that keep on getting printed. So again, we can look at the MACD, it's flipping bullish, and every time it flips bullish, we get a 70 to 80% pump. So it's likely that, again, momentum is shifting and we can get some sort of relief rally here. Also, looking at the global liquidity, again, it's yet to even go parabolic. It's only starting to increase. We can look at it on a more shorter time frame, and you can see that in all different regions, global liquidity is absolutely surging. If it's not already at all-time highs, it's very close. So this is a big sign. And we can look at the global M2 liquidity, and you can see that this is already at all-time highs, as you can see from the previous chart. So the US M2 liquidity there, and Bitcoin tends to lag the global liquidity. So this is one kind of indicator that's been massively accurate. It actually predicted double bottom like we covered on previous videos, and you can see the aftermath of what happened in the global liquidity is just higher highs and higher lows. And I do think that this is what Bitcoin can do, but the question is, will we get a pullback in towards this inefficiency candle and actually start to form a more kind of trustworthy higher low? And that's where maybe we can actually start to entertain higher prices, because of course it may not be the smartest idea to just go long during this compression. Maybe you want to wait for some confirmation above and a decisive breakout backed by some volume as well. That's going to indicate that, okay, this is going to be a decisive breakout and we can actually start to trade in towards our mid-range at 100k, big psychological level, and of course our range highs. And I do think all-time highs too. We can actually, look at further targets. So you got to calculate your risk to reward and understand that does it make sense for me to kind of jump in now? If not, I think it makes sense to wait for some confirmation. But if we just continue to chop around and we don't actually create a higher high in the short term, then I think that, yeah, like we can actually get some sort of higher low before going higher. Either way, it doesn't change the point. I think that we're actually going parabolic on the global liquidity and Bitcoin is going to track it. So it's just a question of when we're going to have that massive rally towards new all-time highs, not if. So this is something that I would not be fading if I were you. So if you're enjoying the video and you want to be trading for yourself, make sure to be checking out the first link down below, which is for HyroTrader. Now, HyroTrader is a proprietary crypto trading firm, actually allowing you to trade with more funds on your buyback account. So make sure to be checking them out. So we can actually check out the challenge here, and you can see that stage 1, you have a 10% profit target, and then phase 2, you have a 5% profit target. And once you actually prove you're a profitable trader, of course, then you can actually get your money back, and you have a 90-10 split once you scale your account. And of course, this is something that I'll be watching for as well. So looking at the different challenge sizes, you can trade up to $200,000 with HyroTrader. So if you think you're a very good trader, you can go for these ones. If not, you can go for the 100k or maybe the 50. And of course, using the first link, you will actually support the channel, of course. And also you have a nice discount. So I'll definitely appreciate if you guys do that. And win-win, you can actually have a lot more capital to be trading with as well. So I'll definitely check this out. HyroTrader, first link in the description. If you're enjoying the analysis and you want to be taking some trades and maybe positioning for this next massive move, definitely check out HyroTrader in the description. Looking at Ethereum, we've come into massive support. We actually circled this as we were coming in towards this mid-range here, and we said this is a likely region where we can get a bounce. We swept our 2023 August lows, and again, that's a massive telling sign where a lot of people start to flip bearish and we start to go a lot higher. But again, look how down Ethereum's gone. So Ethereum's had a massive retracement, Bitcoin dominance continuing to surge, and of course a lot of people are still short on Ethereum. And the people that were previously short on Ethereum, you have to actually look at where the stop losses may reside. And I think above these regions, these support regions, and higher, this is the regions where you got to actually understand how quick Ethereum can actually start to move higher, given people still have a lot of short positions open with invalidations higher than this kind of key inflection point, a key level. So I think eventually Ethereum is going to have its time. One Bitcoin dominance actually starts to roll over and we start to see all Bitcoin pairs actually bottom out. I don't think Ethereum's going to just continue to just bleed to zero. I think Ethereum will have its time and it will recover and it will start to, tackle these highs. And again, once we get there, we can decide if it makes sense for Ethereum to create new all-time highs, if that's on the table, or if not, like there's still a lot of opportunity, as you guys can see. So this is something to bear in mind as well. Food for thought. Yeah. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure to, of course, smash up that like button again, and also follow me on X to stay up to date with consistent updates here. I'm starting to post again, so make sure to be following me on here as I'm covering the charts ahead of time. and of course some charts I don't have time to actually cover. I'm covering it on X, so it's just a BTC, just like my YouTube. Make sure to be following me on here with post notifications on, and I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Have a blessed rest of your day. Peace, guys. See ya. Bye bye.